Good morning. This is Stephanie, and today is November 21st, 2020. The reason I'm doing this video is to try to educate, inform people about foreign accent syndrome, also known as FAS. Today is the anniversary, 8 years since I have my stroke. Since then, it was Thanksgiving Eve in 2012. After having the stroke, I was having difficulty with speech, along with other physical difficulties. It took many years of therapies and exercises to get myself into a better position, better place. So I learned a lot in that time about foreign accent syndrome, which I will just say FAS. This is something that is a deficit that appears to people as if it is a foreign accent, as you can see by listening to me speak now. I have learned with myself, at least, that the faster I speak, the less the deficit is seen, heard. So I wanted to just take the time to reach out to people and let them know, because unfortunately a lot of people think that this is a foreign accent and treat me differently. This year especially, when I was out, the limited time that I could go out, I encountered a lot of discrimination. Very sad to know firsthand. To have people judge me because of my speech. And I have corrected them to say that this is a deficit, and I still get the same kind of attitude that, come on, really kind of thing. So I just thought today, being the anniversary of when it first happened, that I would put something out there for people to learn something, hopefully, to maybe help people to be more understanding to differences in all situations. In this kind of situation, it's difficult sometimes to get my thoughts out, to retrieve the words for word finding, or to combine words to make sentences that are understandable for people to be able to know what I'm trying to say. As you can see, sometimes there's a lot of pause, because right now, not so bad, but there is a lot of pause at times, depending on how I'm doing, if I'm tired or stressed for other circumstances. These kinds of things come on with strokes, the speech deficit that I have, and migraines. So after I have the stroke, I suffer from seizures, and that didn't help with this either. It was a long process for recovery, and eventually it started to sound more normal to people's ears, and you could not hear it as much, the deficit, and I had learned how to use different words in place of the ones that I struggled with. So it was not as noticeable, except during the times that, again, where I was weak, I have a migraine, or either dry mouth, because unfortunately that was something that occurred as well. To have the dry mouth makes it more difficult to move your tongue and work your muscles, so it doesn't come out as well. I want to just play a quick video of what I would typically sound like, and then speak a little bit more. This was in a time when about is now 33 years, I think. It was about the 25th anniversary of my ovarian cancer, which probably a lot of people know of, but I'm not sure. When I was young, I had this, and I was at an event for the 24-year survivor, and I was interviewed. It's very difficult for me to find something to share with my normal speech. I used to have a greeting from my voicemail, but somehow that got deleted, and I actually was upset because I cherished it. I'll go more into that afterwards. Okay, so
25 years ago with ovarian cancer
let me see.
in the later stage, and initially given 3 months to live. But yeah, 3 months, and through treatment, I will survive 25 years. So it's not just about the treatment, it's about family, it's about strength within, and all the support around you. And this is a perfect example of support.
So that was, I hope it came out clear, an example of what I would typically sound like. More of the New York accent. So anyhow, I was lost my thought for a minute there. What I was saying before, I apologize. But anyhow, I'll just to go on from here. So it is very difficult when you have this kind of deficit because people don't understand that it's what you hear is an accent, because I have to drop some of the in-between words, and I also have to to drop different combination words, and this gives you the hearing that this is a foreign accent, as you can tell. There are different types of days. Sometimes I sound more Russian, and sometimes I sound more Greek. There are also days where I can actually hear pieces of my, natural speech, and then it dissipates. So it's difficult when you have this kind of thing. It may not appear to you to seem difficult, because a lot of times people say, "Oh, that's pretty cool." That's what I was going to say to you earlier. When I went to see my doctor, the neurologist, he said to me, "Oh, you have a beautiful accent. Where are you from?" And I was very upset. I started to tear up, and I said, "I'm from here." And he said, "Oh, do you spend time in a foreign country?" So I said, "No, I have the stroke. I am from here." So I played him my greeting message, and he was in shock, because to hear the way I spoke and the way I was speaking. He knew of the foreign accent syndrome, but he was just surprised of the difference. And so at that point, I was taking therapy, and I learned a lot from the speech therapist. You can have things happen where you have a stroke, and if you speak a second language, or possibly have been around a second language, you can actually switch. You can come out speaking that language. And so they were trying to decipher if this was my case, but it was not. Yes, I have been around second language because my father is Greek, and I spent a lot of time growing up around the Greek language, and I did study a little bit before I went to Greece. So there was a lot of things that I have, that I know in the language, and I can understand a lot more than I can respond. So when I have this stroke, surprisingly, the language became more pronounced to me, the Greek language. But it was not the reason for my speech. It just was that the language became more pronounced, the area in my brain. But anyhow, so that's an interesting fact, that if my father possibly had this stroke, he could potentially come out just speaking Greek. So these are all interesting things to learn. But to move on, I want to speak more about the emotional feelings that you have when you lose a sense of who you are. I am looking pretty puffy today, but not as puffy as I have in the past. I have another situation that unfortunately I have to take large doses of prednisone. So it makes me very swollen. And this has been going on for the last 5 years. So I fluctuate up and down in weight. And so when I have the stroke and I have the deficit from that, I felt like I lost a part of who I was, a part of my identity. And I think it's something that is important for people to understand, because it sounds nice. Everybody says it sounds nice. When I don't have the pain, it's not as bad. And when I'm able to find the words, it's not as bad. I've started to adjust, but I still miss who I am. And I know it's not who I am completely, but it's a piece of me. And so when I had that problem initially in 2012, it was difficult to for that time period to have this happen, and also the difficulties with changing. So I could be speaking in a fairly normal speech for myself, and then get upset, something happens, and I triggers it to go to where I'm having slurred speech and I'm having difficulty talking. And it was times where people were saying, what is going on? So it was an adjustment. And then for years I was able to function, and as I said earlier, change the words I use and not be so pronounced. Unfortunately, over the last 6 months, no, it's been longer than that. We've been locked up for a long time with this pandemic. It would be since maybe May, I had a mini stroke, which they believe I've been having periodically for some time. And I was in the kitchen and talking with my son, and all of a sudden my speech went south, to say. I was unable to respond and unable to speak very much. And before you know it, it was back to speaking with a very strong deficit, which actually I want to point out as well. I think I mentioned earlier, excuse me, when I speak slower, you can hear the deficit more pronounced. Let me see if I can do that. I can say, I have to think of something to say, and if it will work. I want to speak slowly to show you how it sounds when I do, to hear my deficit. So as you can see, if I speak slowly, it is more difficult, more, I believe, to be more muscle control, and that would make the sense to why that happens. And so I wanted to just show you the difference. There was one other thing when I was speaking in reference to how I feel emotionally. So I lose the part of me when my speech changes, and then as I said, with the medication I'm taking, is periods of time where you can't even see my neck, and I look in the mirror and I think, who is this person? What is going on? And where is she? So these are things I carry with me internally, and I try to externally be happy and try to not try to be more positive and not to allow these kinds of things to interfere with my life completely. But it's very difficult. So today I just wanted to fill you guys in and let you know how this is affecting me, and also speak a little bit more about understanding differences, because when I go to places, as I told you, and I cannot respond as quickly as other people maybe can, to say at a restaurant, to say place an order, is very difficult, and I get treated with a lot of disrespect, and it hurts me deeply to say this is so. The other thing is that I have to think one more thing. I was trying to think. I apologize. So the loss of yourself, to recap, loss of yourself, the discrimination, which is huge, people meaning well in saying things to you that they try to be understanding, and they say, you know, oh, this is wonderful, you sound so nice, you sound so sexy, oh, I love the way you sound, the speech. And they say, you know, I understand people are trying to find something to say to comfort, but try to understand it. Maybe you can say, how does it make you feel? Instead of saying how wonderful it is. How do you feel? Instead, to address my feelings, not what you think my feelings are. I guess that's, at this point, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, I know. The other things were, it is not fake. Many people have said, oh, it's fake. You, come on, you can, this is not real. Or, you can turn this on and off. No, I cannot. And other times they might hear pieces of my natural speech and say, see, you speak, I can hear you, you speak. But it's a deficit, a speech deficit. Just like people have stutters. It is not controlled. It is something that comes on without my control. So again, try to understand these things. Try to understand when you see someone who is different or struggling. I've struggled my entire life with many things, and I don't want to fill you with boredom with that, but I have. And one is arthritis, and people don't see it, and since a child, so I will approach that one. And no one could see it, so they could not understand. I was given abuse in school with teachers because they don't believe me, and other people in my life who don't believe me. So just because you cannot see something doesn't mean it's not real. Just because you can't feel something doesn't mean that person doesn't feel it. So on that note, it's Thanksgiving time and a holiday time, and we're all going through a lot with this whole thing with the pandemic. Just please try to be kind. Please try to be more understanding to differences, and count your blessings, because each day is a gift, and too many people just take advantage of it. And just try to be nice. Try to be nice. So thank you for listening, and I hope I reach someone.